All right.
Hey, well, here we are again.
Cousin Bowtie Mark is with me again on yet another video.
Hi, everyone.
And so some of you who watch my videos may remember what this might be for. No, not hot peppers, though we are going to do some hot peppers, but we have been doing a series on, you doing okay over there?
Yep, excuse me.
On sunchokes.
Otherwise known as artichokes.
Yes, and so we have been snacking on them all day, and Cousin
right.
Bowtie Mark says he's starting to feel it.
Yeah.
We've been at this for what 5 hours now? 4 hours? And we have been snacking on these things. They're really good.
Yeah, cooked, raw, you name it.
Yeah, everything. If you haven't seen any of the other videos, be sure to check out the recipe videos. We are going to do 2 jars of fermented sunchokes. And we're going to use a little bit of Himalayan salt. We're going to get some water and some sunchokes. And that's all it takes. The quantities are the important thing here, which I'm going to teach you because I've done quite a bit of fermenting here lately.
And this is all brand new for...
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of stuff you can ferment. This is the same ratios that you use if you're making even kimchi or sauerkraut. I got 2 heads of cabbage out there. That's what those are earmarked for, is some jars of sauerkraut. But I have a friend that makes really good sauerkraut. I'm hoping Wayne will take me under his wing and teach me how to do it if there's anything special, which there really, it's a new process for me. But anyway, if you watch my videos, we've got the fermentation kit out here with the weights and the little lid inserts for the jars. And I've only got small ones. We're actually going to go out and harvest just a few random ones and try to get enough to fill 2 of these jars with sunchokes. And I think we can just dig around the outside and get enough on that. We have 2 big plants. We actually, if you remember back on May 20th on the front garden bed tour, we planted 3, only 2 of them came up. And we're going to harvest the outer rim of the front one, the one closest to the sidewalk. So, ready to go do that real quick?
Without further ado.
Without further ado.
Let's go digging.
Let's go dig. Here we go, folks. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So here we are. This is the sidewalk, folks. We're right out at the front of the Bowtie Gardens on the front yard. And Cousin Bowtie Mark is going to do the honors and help see if we can find some. I'm curious how far out these things might go. So this is a massive sunchoke. Man, look how big around that is. That is amazing. I'm wondering if we can get enough to fill. Hey, we didn't get a bowl. Oh, look right there. There's one. Is that a white one? No, it's not. Nope. It's not white. Let's see. There we go. There we go. All right, I'm going to go get a bowl. You start pulling them out.
All right. Not really.
Uh-oh. We need enough to fill those 2 jars. We may end up having to pull more of this plant. I don't know. Oh, here's one. So we're going to be fermenting these. I'm hoping. We're going to have to yell to the camera. I forgot you meet Luna. So I want to try to get enough to fill those 2 jars. Got a little vein of them over here. Oh, there's a nice one. Look at there. Oh, wait. have to go ahead and pull this one up. Oh, look at there, jackpot.
Oh, wow.
Nice. That was a good one. So this is going to be a two-part video for us, meaning we're going to record the first part now. If you've watched our other videos, this is the same day we did all the other video recipes in the harvesting. But we're going to come back and do a taste test later. We're going to try to do a, there we go.
Oh, that's
Plenty. Do you think that's plenty? I got one more right here. There's another. Yeah. All right. We kind of undermined this plant a little bit. If it stays standing, I'll be happy, but the thing is, we'll be breaking, yeah, kind of, we'll be breaking this down anyway. Oh, look at there.
Oh, yeah, right up.
Yeah. Well, that's a big old, let's go ahead and cover it back over. I think we got enough. Okay. Look at that. That's already starting to sprout up.
Yeah.
Let's go back in and clean these up and see if we can get a real cleaning video this time without the sound cutting out. Alrighty, so the last time we recorded, oh, did I do hot water again?
Yeah.
Oh, darn it. Here, let's empty some of that hot water out. There we go, okay. If you missed the last time we tried this, you pretty much saw the back of my arm the whole time, and then the sound cut out for some reason. So I'm going to try this again without blocking the camera. There are places in here that gets dirty. Those will be cut out when we get to that point. I guess we need another bowl, don't we? Use another clean bowl. We have successfully used every single clean dish in the house today. These are coming a lot cleaner, a lot faster, aren't they?
Yeah.
And see now, like this right here, that's a cavity of I don't know what in there. So I'm gonna have to break it apart, get down in there like that. Clean that up. We'll cut those dark spots out.
Yeah. Just like we did today.
So we have eaten a lot of these, and we're starting to feel the digestive changes happening.
Yep.
And we're feeling a little less inclined to snack on them now.
Well, we snacked on
They
them all
are
day.
good. Oh my goodness, we have eaten so much of these. It's a new food, and it's actually pretty good. So we're gonna have to go harvest a few dragon cayenne peppers. I think that's gonna be the pepper for this one. So I want to do two batches. I want to do a regular batch, and I want to do a hot batch, because if you watch many of my fermenting videos, you know I like the hot stuff. Oops. But it's pretty easy to clean. Yeah, I think those are all from a previous recipe.
Yeah.
So this will be the fourth recipe we've started recording today. This is ambitious production, that's for sure.
Well, we got started and just kept on rolling.
Yeah, we did. And we watched that video on fermenting, and it's no different. I was afraid that it might be something special, but
You said it's pretty much the same thing. You did.
yeah, same thing. Everything, all the others that all the other fermenting I've been doing. So let's try it, folks. Here we go. Another recipe in the books. And what we'll do is, for us, after we're done with this, we're gonna come back and taste test this in a couple weeks. But for you, it's going to be the scene afterwards, so you won't have to wait 2 weeks. Mark had to take off on personal matter, so we're going to finish this by ourselves. We have in front of us Sunchokes. It is in a different bowl, but we've got them cleaned up. I have, as you saw in the preparation, 2 pint jars that are sterilized, ready to go. Remember, we're fermenting. It's a good idea to sterilize when you can. And if you can't, you need to keep a closer eye on things in case they start growing bad stuff. You saw me get the sea salt, a pint, did I say quart? I meant pint jar. A pint jar is about 400 milliliters, 400 grams of liquid, and so 5% of salt for 400 grams is 20 grams. Now, as I've mentioned before in other fermenting videos, you want to get to a point where the salt level is at the optimal range for the lactobacillus bacteria that will be doing the fermenting for you. And that is somewhere between 2.5 and 6%. And according to Art and Bree, a lesson I got from them a while back, they like to keep it at 5%. And all the fermentation I've been doing, I've been trying to keep it about the same, and I have had just worlds of success. Too little, and you have other things growing. Too much, and you'll kill the lactobacillus, and fermentation won't happen. So you got to keep in that little range. It's very easy. You'd figure out the milliliters. The pint is about 400 milliliters. A quart is about 800. A gallon is 1,600. Is that about right? Yeah, about 1,600. No, not that. That's not right. Anyway, you can go from there. Had a bug from somewhere. We are living on an edible food forest, so you never know where things are coming from. I wonder if that came out of the Sunchokes. That's very interesting. Okay, that was funny. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just mix the ingredients into these pint jars and get things together. Now these Sunchokes, according to Mark over at Self-Sufficient Me, they like to get nice little bite-sized pieces, and that's kind of what they were talking about. And so I like to get them in. I've been getting them in. We're going to get them in about this size, and some of these we're going to have to cut because they're pretty big. But I'm going to go ahead and turn one of these over, and we're just going to start cutting these up and breaking them up, and see, they just pop like that. They do really good. They're very easy to cut. As we've talked about a few times in this video, it's kind of like potato consistency, which makes sense because they're a great substitute for potatoes. Now, I do have a little something over here. I want to do a reason why I have 2 jars is I want to do a jar of just regular ones so we can get a good baseline. And then I want to get a jar with some peppers in them. So we've got some jalapenos over here that we're going to stick in one of these jars. And about that, I am very excited. Now, Cousin Bowtie Mark doesn't do hot stuff that much, but I almost bet he'll at least try one. And he will be back at the end of this video when we're doing taste testing. So, no fear. See, that's a pretty big piece, so we're going to cut that in half. Now, as far as resources for this, we've had several resources. In fact, there is somewhere on the Bowtie channel, there is a list of recipes that we're using in this series and elsewhere. They're the very videos we researched to make these videos. So it's very good information, and as I've said in other videos, I like giving good quality information. The more information you can get, the better. And so that's the goal here. So before we started this series, Cousin Bowtie Mark and I sat down and we went through a bunch of those videos, and actually all of those videos, to see what we could learn before getting going. And it was very informational. So I don't want to get these too small.
Oh, another thing we have here is some filtered water. And that is all that's going into this is filtered water and the salt and the Sunchokes, of course. And that's really, now there's a big bad spot. You want to cut off the bad spots, of course. There's another bad spot under here. We are in the process of germinating onions right now, if you've been watching any of the videos. And they're right there germinating. And we're very excited. So that did not take nearly as much as I thought it would to fill. Which is, of course, good news. And I'm just cutting off any bad spots. Like, look at there. See all those spots right there? I cut in. There's still a little more. I'm just going to cut all the bad spots off. Now, the skin, as we've said in other videos, the skin is good to eat. It's fine to eat. It's very, very, very thin. Just almost paper thin. So it really doesn't affect the consistency of the Sunchoke at all. So now, as far as fermenting time, these, and again, according to Self-Sufficient Me over at Mike, that was the best video I saw on this. He was talking about how his family, and apparently he does this a lot, his family likes them to be fermented for 2 weeks. So we will let this ferment for 2 weeks, and then cousin Bowtie Mark should be back in Earth space, so we can get him back on the video and do a taste test to see what they taste like. They're cooked. If you saw the other videos, we did hash browns that were amazing. The nice thing about all this is that this is a substitute for potatoes that's actually good for diabetics. That excites me. I'm a diabetic, and so I'm always up for really good information about what I can do to eat that is good, because it doesn't have the starches that a potato has in it, and it's actually will not push up the glucose level in your blood. And of course, in this series, you saw or there's one reading in here that I gave for the day that Mark and I did the first parts of this video, and my glucose levels barely, in fact, the only time they jumped was when we tried the pomegranate, or was it pomegranate jelly? I can't remember. This is about a month and a half later. We've had an eventful holiday. I hope you did too. It was a very good one for us. We had all our family in at one time or another, and got to see all the grandkids, of course, and really enjoyed it. So a couple of pints here. I keep saying quarts, don't I? A couple of pints here doesn't take long to fill. I imagine it's probably going to be just enough for us to taste and then have a little extra to have with our meals. Now, fermentation, of course, the lactobacillus fermentation is a probiotic process, which means the biome in your stomach has a lot of this in it, and it's required for us to be healthy. I've said in other fermentation videos that if you count the number of cells in your body, they estimate, I don't think they quite know exactly just yet, but they estimate that your body, of all the living cells in your body, over half of them are not human. And if we didn't have those extra cells, the bacteria, the fungus, the virus, and so forth that create our biome, our gut health, our membrane health, all through our body, if we didn't have that, we would not be living. So hopefully you're not finding this out for the first time from me. There are far better resources to find this out than me. And like anything, do your research. Go out. It's very easy to find this information. Do your research and figure out for yourself, confirm for yourself before you make these big changes. And one of these days soon, I'm going to be doing a video on some of the things that I've done, but I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. This is just what I've found. This is what I've done over the past, I'm 57 years old now, and throughout the years I've learned a few things and found a few things to be helpful. And so, you know, the things I'm talking about, it's just what I've done and what I've found successful and what works for me. So don't ever take anything I say so seriously that you don't research it and you just take me at my word. You really need to know more information, as much information as you can before making some of these big diet decisions. Fermentation is very easy to find research on, and gut health information. And there's a lot of very knowledgeable people out there, dietitians, doctors, researchers, that can tell you with great accuracy the benefits of fermentation in your diet. And yes, you probably can tell I have a little bit of a throat thing going on right now. Mrs. Bowtie and I are getting over something. And actually we're over it. We're just kind of getting rid of the congestion right now. Okay, so we're looking at, see now notice this one here is a little bit emptier than this one here because I'm going to put jalapenos in this one. So some of these bad spots actually had dirt in them, I can see, so I'm going to use clean spots here. These are jalapenos that I have harvested over the past, I don't know, a couple months. They've been in the freezer. I put them out here before, or while the water was starting to boil, so that they would be starting to thaw, at least enough to cut them up. Before we froze them, we did take the caps off of them so that they're easy to process. And I am just putting the whole thing in here. I like the red ones for the color, and the green one has the flavor. Actually, they all have the flavor, but I don't know. I just thought the color would be kind of good looking in there. Now I see the problem. I got all my jalapenos at the top here. I need to mix these up some, don't I? How do I do this? Yeah, that's probably a bit much jalapeno in there. Jalapeno is not super duper hot. I was gonna put Thai hots in here. In fact, the first attempt we did here, I did Thai hots, and they were actually pretty good. So we're gonna just see what these are like. We'll talk about what happened in the first attempt when Cousin Bowtie Mark comes back. So here we go. You can see, look at the green and red. It's kind of pretty. And then just the Sunchokes. And so we are going to move the cutting board out of the way. And look how much, I've got so much left over. Good grief. Wow, this will keep in the fridge for a couple weeks, so we can eat these. Maybe we'll make some hash browns out of it. Let Mrs. Bowtie try. Okay, so this is 20 grams of Himalayan pink salt. We're adding to both of these. And yep, I just added it. I think you're supposed to actually dissolve it in the water. It was not that coordinated, obviously. You know, me and my brain doesn't always work out right. So, there we go. I'm going to have to shake these up a little bit, aren't I? I can tell, because that salt obviously did not dissolve. Again, should have done this on the stove. made sure it was properly dissolved. If you watch my videos, you know what happened. I have a lot of projects to do today, trying to get some stuff off the board. All right, we're gonna call that good. And this will settle down. So all I'm going to do is take one of these fermenting lids, and these fermenting lids, the nipple here has a little hole in the top, little tiny hole. I don't think you can see it if I pinch it, but there's a little slice in it, and the little hole opens up. But that will allow the proper air to escape and not allow any more oxygen into the mix, because we don't want oxygen. That is very hot water. This is a anaerobic process, which means it doesn't use oxygen. So we want most of that mix under the water, and this will allow the correct non-oxygenated air to escape, or actually the oxygen to escape and not get back in. So anyway, there we go. I'm going to put this up on the fermentation shelf up here. Recently had a little blowout, so I've got a tray up there that I'm going to put them in this time and not mess up the shelf with a lot of liquid. But we're going to come back in 2 weeks and see how these taste and see how good they are. I'm very excited. Stay tuned. Okay. Mark is back.
Hi, everyone.
Bowtie Mark is back after a 6-week hiatus.
I know, right? It's good to be back, though.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Just to reiterate, we did some fermenting, and they sat for 6 weeks, and I am concerned about the angle of this camera. And yeah, looky there. There I am. Okay. So now that we're straightened out.
Yeah, you don't want to be a voice just off camera.
Yeah, well, the wooden bracket was covering it over. But yeah, so those, after sitting 6 weeks, as I've already said in the previous segment I made 2 weeks ago, they were mush. They were like,
yeah.
Imagine a fully roasted potato, and you squeeze and it just, and the texture was
not right.
Not pleasant.
But a good experiment, nonetheless.
Yeah, it was. So we have 2 ages of fermentation here. We have these 2 jars here are 2 weeks, and we're going to try we're going to try those second. And this one here is actually only 5 days old, and it's been bubbling. Now, I did mention in that previous segment about blowing out, and we did have a blowout, which is why I put it in the tray. You can actually see there's still a little bit of dried stuff in the top there, but we'll have to kind of look inside here. When you're opening your fermented stuff, you do need to be careful not to shake them, and check the top, because sometimes they grow stuff. Ooh, yeah, oh, that's nice. So this is a perfect example. It's real foamy. This is the byproduct of the fermentation. So this is actually healthy, and I don't see any mold growing, which mold is not a bad thing. It's part of the process. If you get mold, you just take a spoon and scoop it off the top, because it doesn't get down in the mix. But yeah, that foam is interesting, because it looks like there might be something mixed in. But there's a little bit of foam here on the top that you just scoop off. And again, this is part of the fermentation process. There might be, see, I'm wondering if that brown right there may be a little bit of mold. Yeah. But
I think you might be right.
the process of fermentation, I mean, think about cheese. Making cheese, you're making mold.
Yeah.
So it's, it's part of the process. But anyway, so this is only 5 days old. Today is February 4th. This was done January 30th. So these are only 5 days old. And
now, you had mentioned to me earlier before we started this that, though, 5 days the chemical reaction happens so any of the
Yes.
bad things go away.
Yeah.
So they no longer are fart chokes.
Yeah, artichokes. Yeah,
Yeah, artichokes.
and that's what I was understanding from a reliable source. Again, do your research. It's very easy to find good information about fermentation. But
And the carbs too, right?
yeah, and of course it's a carb-free meal. But now that what I heard was 1 week is the magic point where that inulin is processed out. And so being 5 days, it might still have a little bit in it, but I don't think it's going to be like what we went through at the beginning of this video after eating these for 6 hours.
Well, let's
All right, here we go.
up.
Take, there we go.
Here we are.
Ooh, crunchy.
Ooh, I like the flavor of that.
Yeah, it has very mild pickling in it. Very
Definitely
mild.
pickly, but yeah, you're right, mild.
Yeah, in fact, I think I'm going to leave that on the shelf for the rest of the 2 weeks, based on what it's a little more crunchy than I was expecting it to be.
That's almost like original crunchy.
Yeah, very close to it. But it's just starting to get that flavor. So that's at 5 days.
I do like that mild infusion though of the pickling.
Yeah, a little bit of flavor. Okay, now let's get to the real stuff here. If you are just stumbling along here, finding our channel, I'm Cousin Bowtie. I'm Bowtie Dave. This is Cousin Bowtie Mark.
Well, getting the names right in half the battle, right?
Well, I called Brett Mark. I was all lost that day. Oh my goodness. We do mostly about gardening and got a gnat around. Okay, so we have a lot of seedlings going over here, and I'm getting an occasional gnat. As soon as I turned off that fan, the gnats
They
showed up.
congregate.
Yep. So now this one is the one that actually had the blowout. 2 weeks fermentation. Now, Mark over at Self-Sufficient Me, like I've already said, he's the one that said 2 weeks was their favorite time. Oh, wow.
Oh, a lot of fun.
Look at that. So what's going to happen with it? Oh, that's actually an artichoke stuck to the
Oh,
top.
just get stuck. Yeah.
Won't be eating. So there's a lot of brown on there where it's supposed to be in the top.
I don't see any other floaties.
No, I don't either. Just a little bit of foam. Get that gnat. Good grief. But we just clean off the foam now. If this is every bit as good as Mark's at Self-Sufficient Me says, then this is going in the fridge, and that will actually slow down the fermentation process and be good to
How long is this good for? Now
should
that
be
you
good for a
popped
month
it.
or so, month or
Okay.
two, yeah. Fermentation, if you've slowed it down in the fridge, fermentation will be good for storage for a while.
So keep it in the fridge and you're good
Yep.
for at least a month.
And what it does is it almost stops the fermentation process.
Gotcha.
It'll continue to ferment ever so slightly. So that's the
Right.
point at which the life in the fridge becomes important. But I know our fridge is set to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and that seems to do really good for all of our fermented stuff. So
But in a month,
nothing
by
has
that
lasted.
time, you'd eat it all
Exactly.
anyway. So, yeah.
So, and then, what I do, I just went through a bottle of sauerkraut, and I just got a bite or two a day. And it was just,
Oh,
it was
okay.
just something to nibble on in the afternoon.
Yeah, good
So,
snack.
Yeah.
Healthy.
So, anyway, let's see what we got here. This is going to be the magic here. 2 weeks. Okay, so the texture has still got crunch in it.
Good.
Like Mark said, he said his family likes the little bit of crunch that's at 2 weeks. And, yeah. So here we go.
Feels firm.
It does feel firm. Still has
Yeah.
plenty of crunch. All right, ready? Here we go.
All right.
Oh, there's that taste.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's actually
That's
good.
a lot more of an intense pickling
Oh
flavor.
my goodness, yeah. So it has a little bit of that sharp flavor in it.
And it's more crunchy than I would have
It
anticipated.
is. It's very. It's almost exactly as crunchy as brand new out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good. You want that bottle? Take it home with you. I'll give you a lid for it
Cool.
because I have a feeling this is the bottle I'm going to want.
Yeah, it's got the peppers in it.
So this is the one I've been really anxious about. In the first part of this video, I put dragon cayenne in it, and after messing up the first batch, I didn't have any. Oh, okay. So
Look at that.
there is all different.
Yeah, this went completely different.
Yeah, now this white fuzz, I'm going to get it close to the camera here so you can see. This is the white fuzz, the mold that grows. And this is not, again, this is not bad stuff. It's part of the process. It's not preferable. If I had put a weight on top of this, one of those glass weights, I probably would have been without it. I'm not sure why this one has so much.
Interestingly, the lid, no foam, no nothing.
Yeah, and that's probably because no foam.
No, this is clean.
There's very little foam here. I'm afraid I'm going to have to lose a couple of these jalapenos out of here.
Well, while he
Because-
cleans that up, I want to put a plug in case you're new to the channel. He recently had a huge water oak tree taken out, and I got to tell you, that was an amazing video. Very, very cool. So I don't want to spoil the ending. Just check it out if you get time.
I'll put a card up here in the corner of the video, so
Yeah.
there's a link there.
It's a little long, but it's worth it. It's very cool to watch the process.
If you like the process of dismantling a
Yeah.
tree like that fascinates me too. Is why I recorded it.
If you're a grown man but a kid at heart, you'll love it.
There you go. it's like for guys who like to drive big trucks.
Exactly. It's a guy thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Okay, so this has jalapenos. The jalapenos floated to the top more than the sunchokes, and I think that may have been the source of the mold. But I've got it all cleaned out. You see any more in there? There was a little bit of foam on the edge.
Now, what kind of peppers are these?
These are jalapenos.
Jalapeno.
Jalapeno Traveler, which we grow in the garden, and they are not very hot.
And I'm having to trust him on that because
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not a super hot
I don't know
pepper guy.
I don't know how much has actually been soaked up by these sunchokes. See, that was one right at the top. So still good and crunchy, I can tell already. You want me to eat it first, or you're gonna just dive right in?
I'm gonna dive right in.
This is Bowtie. I get the whole milk ready.
All
There we
right.
go. All right. Okay. Oh,
That's delicious.
that is delicious.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of heat afterwards. Just very mild. That actually is not bad.
No, it is very mild heat.
Yeah.
You know, again, I don't tolerate super spicy food. This is fine for me. That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I'm gonna fish out one more.
Yeah,
if you don't
have as
mind.
much as you want. That was actually really good. I'm going to have one of those jalapenos. I want to see how hot this red one is, because I had some mostly red in here. And I put some green ones in. There's a little bit of spice in it. Not a whole lot, but ooh, that is a nice flavor.
I'm gonna try one.
Yeah, it is rather mild.
All right.
Okay.
There goes nothing.
There you go. Yeah. Of course, you know, I had eaten a peri-peri pepper out of the garden, a green one. I thought, oh, that wasn't bad. So I brought one in to Mrs. Bowtie to eat, and the one we split. How was that, Mrs. Bowtie?
I'm still not speaking to you.
So that went well.
Yeah. All right.
Man, that was delicious.
There we go. Yeah, that was very good. And that fermentation is good for the gut health. Do your research. A lot of information out there on gut health. A lot of good information out there. And so for those of you who have subscribed, thank you for subscribing. Those of you who have not subscribed, please do. We talk, as I said earlier, mostly about gardening, sometimes about life. And if you thought this was informational, educational, or entertaining, click the thumbs up on the video, and feel free to share this on your social media with your friends. And everything that I just mentioned is all free stuff that you can do to help grow the community here. And that's what we're trying to do, is to grow a community. Sunchokes. And I'm actually trying to get myself in the habit of calling it the original name by the Native Americans that called it sunroot.
Sunroot.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I've been trying to start the habit of that. I'm doing pretty good about calling them sunchokes and not Jerusalem artichokes, or fartichokes, as we called them at the beginning of this video. But yeah, I haven't eaten very many fresh ones. That's when they become dangerous. So anyway,
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
yeah,
Had
thank you
fun.
for coming.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming
good
down
stuff.
from your restaurant and
yeah.
giving us
Well, I
some
got to
of your expertise.
step out from the
Yep,
restaurants
yep.
once in a while.
Get
Travel around.
ideas for, even Emerald does that. He travels out and goes and tries things.
That's right.
So you're bigger than Emerald.
Okay.
The primary patron of your restaurant is sitting right over there in
Yeah.
the background.
Mrs. Cousin Mark off camera.
All right, so thanks for joining us, and y'all have a great time. Join us for the next video, and as always, have a blessed day.
Blessed day.